10 best unusual purchases that changed my life. Now, ladies and gents, I have spent the last few months really being deliberate about what items that I would be including in this video. A lot of people on YouTube tend to make these, 10 items that I can't live without. Usually what they do is they have these affiliate links, then they get commission, and they don't really like those items. None of these are gonna be affiliate links. These are items that I use every single day that I genuinely cannot live without. This is actually green tea. This is green tea that came from Korea. As some of the OG viewers on this channel know, I recently took a 5-week trip visiting the motherlands of South Korea. Within South Korea, you can actually take a flight over to Jeju Island, which is about an hour away. Now, this island here is known to have some of the most award-winning teas that are found. First of all, before I even talk about why this specific brand of tea is so important, I was actually reading a book, and this book here was called Time Off by John Fitch and Max. I can't pronounce his last name, that's why I'm just saying Max. The author was basically talking about how he was able to enter the flow state or those alpha brain waves, and one of the ways that he was able to do that was by finding a specific green tea that was made in Japan. And when you get high quality green tea, what happens is there's something called L-theanine. This green tea from Korea has high trace amounts of L-theanine, and by having a good blend of L-theanine and caffeine, this is where instead of getting you're drinking coffee, you get the jitters, and then you get a rush, and then you crash, and it's just not a good feeling. When you pair something like green tea, which has naturally high amounts of L-theanine, you find yourself really having this balanced, very good mood. I've drinking a lot of tea in my life. I've gone through every tea brand in my grocery store. I've gone online and bought many different types of teas online. If you guys follow me, I went through a crazy matcha period during the pandemic, and it's within my personality where if I get into something, I really get into something. I go on the Reddit forums and I join the communities, I read all the reviews, and by far, I cannot live right now without this specific tea brand. The only affiliation I have with them is the fact that when I went to Korea, I visited this tea farm called Osoluk. They have a crazy awesome background story, and actually this tea, the reason why it's just so amazing is because first of all, it's organic, it's proven organic, not just within Korea, but off the global industry standard. There's an international organic standard that they could meet. But more than that, basically Korea is surrounded by a lot of volcanic, acidic ash, and a lot of their soil is actually really good for making something like this. So first weird item on my list that I cannot live without, my goodness, this green tea. I drink it about 1 to 3 times a day. It keeps me really focused on the tasks that I do so I can create videos just like this and keep grinding on this channel. The second unusual item that I found has really changed my life is this Kindle right here. So I didn't really believe in a Kindle. I always preferred books because I can put sticky notes in it, I could use a highlighter, a pen, and I really like just dissecting the information. With a Kindle, the benefit here is that this thing doesn't get wet. Well, it can get wet, you can put water on it, but the pages won't crumble up, and you don't have to worry about bringing around such a heavy book. There was a period in my life when I first got into journaling and I was actively reading books all the time where my backpack just started to get really heavy. With a Kindle like this, you don't need to flip any pages. It's actually so convenient, the fact that you could read thousands of books just on this simple small device right here in any condition. So it could be light outside, it could be dark, it could be, you could be camping somewhere, I could be fishing underneath 90-degree weather, or I could just be reading a book within my car without having to worry about snow and rain getting in. Because right now in Maryland, the weather is just crazy. We're seeing all different types of seasons happening. This Kindle here, it fits in my backpack, it's lightweight, it's so portable, and the reason why I like this so much is just because, this goes back to the saying with even knives. The best knife is not the one that's the most sharpest, the most easy to use, but the best knife in the world is the one that you can carry around with you that seems to go in your pocket everywhere you go. Knowledge and education is so important, and I find that if I use something similar to this, a reading app like the Kindle app within my iPhone, you get notifications, you get distractions coming up, but this is still that perfect mix of simplicity, not enough technology, but just enough where you can get the books you need, and you could still also highlight, make notes on this, and then go back on the website to cross-reference different things. All right, so the next thing on this list for my unusual purchase is actually a rumble roller. As most of you guys know, I grew up playing sports. I actually had 2 Division I scholarships to play rugby here in the States after high school, and I was always a huge component of, fitness, of making sure my body feels right. This is the Rumble Roller, and it looks super painful, and it isn't. It actually feels really great. But basically, all of these little bumps can really get into the crevice of your back. If you gotta stretch it out from sitting all day like I do, hunched over, this loosens you up, and there's actually a lot of proven benefits to using a foam roller actively. I used to pay money to go to a chiropractor and have them do it, but I realized I could do the same thing with this foam roller, and there wasn't a huge difference. And where the benefit of this is you buy it once and then you can crack your back for free. What I found personally, the biggest benefit is that the foam roller just opens up my range of motion. So if I feel stiff from just sitting all day, this tends to relax me more out. Also on top of that, you get a bit more increased blood flow. I can actually crack a part of my neck when I'm using this foam roller, and I could feel just the blood going into parts of my back, and it starts warming up. Every time that happens, you have to realize blood carries oxygen, glucose, and other nutrients to those muscles and connective tissue, so it helps with repairing, it helps with just increasing the longevity and health of your own muscles. And I believe just as important, mental and every other component of your well-being is, physical is also very important too. All right, so my next really weird, unusual purchase that I love, that I cannot live without, is a good mechanical keyboard. It was funny, literally like on my studio, I have probably 3 keyboards right now in front of me. This is also one of those weird little things that I got into during the pandemic, and I was watching all the little ASMR videos of people clickety clackety on their keyboard, and it took me a while to build this one out. I actually had to hire my friend, pay him to put together the components on this right here, but this is actually a very heavy keyboard. You probably can't tell, but the whole idea of a mechanical keyboard is it makes me more excited to work. Chances are whatever work you're doing, still some component of it involves you having to type and having to use a computer. Now, if you have a mechanical keyboard that is ergonomic and that is at the feel of your fingers, it feels really good. Not only can this help with your productivity because it makes you more excited to type, but I found that my words per minute started to go up. I found that I started to go back to the computer even more. Back a few years ago when I was getting into this whole hobby, you had to pre-order these keyboards and you had to do something called a GB, a group buy, and then you had to wait on that. You just had to go through a lot of things, but now there are more companies that are allowing you to build it. It doesn't take 6 months for you to get a keyboard. So I'm telling you, if you don't know anything about mechanical keyboards, this is gonna be like the rabbit hole that people jump into. Anyways, my love for mechanical keyboards, it's through the roof. I am addicted to these things. I love finding different ones. They have different tactility, so this one actually is a bit more clicky. But then we got homie right here, completely different keyboard. So I have different keyboards in different offices. I have one for even like the PS5, which I haven't touched in many months, but even that one has its own dedicated keyboard. This one's more of like my blogging, writing keyboard, and then this one right here is more of like my admin work thing. And I find that even switching up the tactility and like the different types of keyboards I use for certain tasks helps me a lot in gearing my brain towards what I'm planning to do that day. The next piece of item that I cannot live without is this camera right here, and this is the Fujifilm X100V. Now this camera is the camera that I took to Korea, and it actually helped me push my creative boundaries to limits that I did not know was possible. Within being a social media influencer, or whatever you guys want to call it, something that I fail to do often is to really start flexing those creative muscles that I have. Just like working out, just like making the gains at the gym, it's so important for you to constantly be trying to create more than consume. And I found that, you know, with some of my bigger cameras like the Canon R3, which is gigantic, it's like 3 times the size of this, I find that just because of its profile and how big it is, I tend not to shoot much with it. This camera here is perfect, and it was actually sold out for a really long time. It still might be, and I had to buy this one off eBay and pay like a 20 to 40% premium in order for me to get it. Once I got this camera, I did my little upgrades that I did. I got a lens filter here, I got a little lens hood, I got the little cool button right here, the red button as well, and I just found that this camera here really shaped the way that I approach photography, which also blends more into how I approach videography, which is, you know, where you guys are watching me from. And it started to make me think more often about how I can create more content in different places. Regardless of whatever profession you are in, I believe everyone should be creating to some degree, whether it's through photos, through content, through videos. I mean, that's what's the most popular right now, and that's where you can find yourself to market, build your personal brand, have a blog, grow in many different ways. I find that I don't use my phone as much, or if I do, I take a lot of shorter videos with this, but with the camera, because it's just a camera, its sole functionality is to take pictures. And this one here, the reason why I chose the X100V is because it took amazing photos. It comes out the camera just like the way you guys are seeing it. So I can choose not to shoot in RAW. I can choose to shoot in JPEG, where it adds the filter on the photo within the camera. So when I export it, I don't have to do any editing. I can just go from taking a photo, uploading it up, and it's good to go. So that's why I love it. It's simple, it works, and I feel like we're going back in place right now to a time where older technology like the film photography, this style, this retro stuff is really coming back. So this camera here is absolutely one of my most favorite purchases, and an item that's kind of unusual that I cannot live without. What I have next on this list is this guy right here. It's an Owala water bottle. Now I've gone through probably 10, 20, maybe even 30 different water bottles. I've had the Swell bottle, I had the Hydro Flask, I've had the Yeti version, they had a cool one too. But I keep coming back to this Owala water bottle for obvious reasons. It helps you drink more water. If you carry this around, you don't have to be dehydrated. Very hard to work, very hard to be, I think, in a better mood. You don't look good when you are constantly dehydrated. So I try to carry around a water bottle with me. This Owala one is nice because it actually has like a little straw spout right here. And if you don't want to use the sippy straw spout, you can actually just dunk it back. The water comes in. This one, it's pretty straightforward. Out of all the water bottles I've used, there's even that one brand where they pay like every TikToker and influencer. You guys know what I'm talking, you guys may recognize that brand. I like this one, Owala. They don't make it super overpriced for no reason. And it gets the job done. It hasn't dented at all, and it's been pretty good. Okay, so this one right here is a bit more on the unusual side, but this here is actually a magnesium, zinc, and vitamin D3 supplement. I'm huge into supplements. I take fish oil, I like just a lot of things. If you guys ever see my cabinetry, it's just full of different type of vitamins. But I realized that this one right here has a perfect blend. It has vitamin D3, which is good for many, many different reasons. It has magnesium and zinc. This brand right here, Live Conscious, this is the one that I've been using. And instead of carrying 3 different types of pills, it carries all the essential nutrients and vitamins that I need within just these 2 capsules that I take once a day. I always get super sick every time the weather gets cold, especially here in Maryland. I started taking this supplement before I went to Korea. It was during that time when I felt a cold coming on, but it never turned to a full-blown cold. And the only thing I was taking was actually this supplement right here. So knock on wood, I still have not gotten sick this year, but I really think it's because of this supplement right here. I did a little bit more research, and it turns out 50% of the US population is actually magnesium deficient. But I think the biggest benefit from this just comes from the fact that it has magnesium, and that allows me to sleep way better. Ever since I started taking this, I used to not sleep that well. I used to toss and turn. I've been sleeping much better, which means that I've been getting sick way less, and I've just felt way better ever since taking this supplement right here. Next unusual purchase, it's actually a backpack right here. Just like everything on my little desk area, I'm huge into backpacks. I have this weird obsession where I see a backpack, if I like it, if it's got the perfect like tactical looking MOLLE straps, I want to buy it. This backpack I took with me to Korea. I've done a lot of traveling with it. I took it with me to Palm Springs, and it's been great. It's simple, you don't need too much, and I find that almost everywhere I go, I carry a backpack with me because I need my laptop, I need my book, I carry my water bottle. If I need to put my camera somewhere, this is usually where it all goes. There's a lot of people out here who may have like a beat up old backpack and it gets the job done. I think that's fine. But for me, this one's actually just a Nike backpack that I found. It was at Dick's Sporting Goods a few months back. I love the color. It's been holding up well. It protects my stuff, and I've been able to fill it up with a lot of other stuff as well. What's cool is these 2 straps right here. It actually allowed me to put it on my suitcase. So I strapped it on there. Down here, I can actually put my shoes or my hoodie or anything down here if I don't feel like wearing it. So Just a simple Nike backpack, carry it with me pretty much everywhere I go. Another unusual purchase, my Glock 43X right here. So it was actually about a few months ago where within Maryland, we were approved as a state in order to qualify to get our concealed carry weapons license. Now I acted on that right away, and that's mainly because in the county that I'm living in, crime has been skyrocketing to just an incredible amount. Some of you guys may already know that I almost got stabbed right outside of my apartment. Guy bumped into me, chased me with a knife. You know, I didn't have any protection back then, so all I could do was run. But in the case that anything happens, and I hope nothing ever happens in the future, I will be able to protect myself. And a lot of people tell me, yo, Brian, you know, isn't it uncomfortable, you know, carrying something like this? By carrying this tool right here, it by no means is comfortable. It's always digging into the belly rolls of my stomach, but this is not meant to be comfortable, it's meant to be comforting. In the specific county that I live in, the murder rate has now increased by 105%, carjackings have doubled, and non-fatal shootings increased by 75%. I can actually assure you that this statistic has gone up even more. There's a lot of my friends and family who work either in law enforcement. Crime is way up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my county specifically. I don't know if it's a thing where it's affecting the whole country after the pandemic. I never want to be in a position where I cannot protect myself. So one of the best unusual purchases that I made for this year is actually looking into getting a firearm. More important than that though, it's getting the proper licensing, it's getting the training. I had to take a 16-hour class, and then on top of that, I make sure that I practice almost on a weekly basis. I'm staying up to date with all the different changes in the law. I'm making sure I'm looking at resources on how I can best prevent a situation before anything even happens. I really hope that I never have to ever use a weapon to this degree, but if I need to protect myself, my friends, my family, or any loved ones, I will not hesitate to do so. And I highly encourage everyone who is allowed to, if you have the legal right to do so, to make sure that you at least protect yourself. This world's just going crazy, okay? The US, there's crime all the time. People are getting jumped and mugged out here. So make sure you guys protect yourself. Okay, last but not least, this is my last unusual purchase that has changed my life, and that is actually getting a good Bible. So, okay, I know, trust me. You know, we talked about the Kindle, and now I'm like whipping out guns and Bibles and stuff. Listen here, this is really where a lot of my life has been changing over the past few months. I think Korea really was like a turning point in my life, because since that trip, I've really been getting more back into the word. So for me, I grew up in church, but I will say I had a hard time with my faith. I'm someone who questioned everything in life, where, you know, even in school, guys, I questioned every single rule. I questioned almost every subject out there. For me, if I couldn't ever conceive a certain topic, I couldn't see it for my own eyes, I always questioned it. That's just my way of life. With that type of mindset, I'm lucky enough it allowed me to get here, where I started questioning the entire system. I told myself, okay, I want to start a business. I want to do something new. So there was a benefit in me questioning many of these different things. Lately, I've been meditating more on the word. I've been praying more. And whether you guys believe in God or not, I believe if you're able to have some type of guide, any book, any principle to help you just navigate when things get rough and turmoil comes up, it'll be beneficial for you to have something that you can rely on and that you can read. I remember even a few years back, my version of the Bible was business books. It was self-help books. It was self-improvement books like Think and Grow Rich, The Wealthy Gardener, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The 4-Hour Work Week, The Intelligent Investor. The list goes on and on. As I start to dive more deeper into the word here, I'm seeing a lot more stories, but I'm seeing a lot of the principles that I've read in a lot of these self-help books that seem to come and originate from just one source. You know, I've been there. I've struggled a lot in many different ways, whether it was business, whether it was being a student. Most of you guys know I got kicked out of high school too. I got expelled out of there. I would get into fights all the time as a kid. I was just really bitter, angry all the time. And I find that even now, it's something that if I wake up on the wrong side of the bed, if I'm a little hangry, I can tell you, I can see that version of myself coming out, and I still struggle every single day. I'm at least able to get better guidance. I'm able to find myself being more present, and practices that I've already been doing for the last 4 to 5 years, ever since I wanted to, get into business and succeed as an entrepreneur. Meditating. It was being more grateful. It was reading more. It was understanding principles to follow by that'll help me be a better person. Now, according to the Guinness World Records, as of 1995, the Bible here is actually the best-selling book of all time, with an estimated 5 billion copies sold and distributed. Taking that number, there's got to be some reason behind that, right? There's got to be some purpose. With knowing that information and knowing just how much I've come in my own life and within my faith. It's just, this right here is just another one of those unusual purchases that has really changed my life. All right, so ladies and gents, that is the video right there. If you guys resonated with any other point or any purchase that I've made and you've tried it out yourself, come back to this video. Let me know. Send me a message if it did make any type of impact at all. If you guys have your own unusual purchase, let me know down below in the comments. I'm always looking to try different things, see what can optimize my life or make me a better person. If you guys haven't done so already, be sure to follow me down below on Twitter, on Instagram, and we also have a newsletter. If you guys want to sign up for that and get some updates from me and my team, you can check that out down below in the description too. Like always, thank you all so much again for watching. Have an amazing day, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.